Gods and goddesses gather around. Welcome to Mythology and Makeup. I'm Vanessa, and I'm thrilled to share my passion with Greek mythology with you while I get ready for the day. So let's uncover the fascinating stories of mythology together, from Athena's wisdom to the captivating stories of the muses and everything in between. So grab your brushes and a mirror, and let's unleash the beauty and magic within. Happy Saturday, everyone. I hope everyone had an amazing New Year's. And let's start off this new year with some more stories of the mortals from Greek mythology. I left off with Europa, so today we're going to start with Leda. She was the queen of Sparta, the mother of Castor, Helen, Polydeuces, and Clymestra. This is yet again another story on how Zeus took interest in a mortal woman while appearing as a creature other than a human. In this story, he appeared as a swan. I mean, swans are pretty, but they're fucking, you don't want to ever touch it. Get close to a swan, they'll fuck you up, man. I don't know why Leda didn't know this, because I would have never gotten near a swan. Anyways, he was in the form of a swan when he assaulted Leda, the queen of Sparta, and she became pregnant, just like any other story. Any other time Zeus or any man assaults a woman in Greek mythology, they get pregnant because they didn't have contraception back then, just busting nuts. But, that same night that Zeus assaulted her, she was also with her husband. Because of this and the lack of understanding of the physical ways of the woman's body back then, she became pregnant by both men simultaneously. When she gave birth, she had a total of 4 children in the form of 2 eggs, which she had laid as if she was a swan. From those 2 eggs hatched the twins Castor and Polydeuces, who is more known for his Roman name, Pollux, and Helen and Clymestra. 2 of the children were Zeus's kids, and 2 of the children were her husbands, making 2 mortal and 2 deities. Though it's not always clear which one is which, depending on the source. Sometimes the twins came from different eggs. Castor and Polydeuces went on to partake in a number of historic quests, including accompanying Jason on the search for the Golden Fleece, a boar hunt, and rescuing their sister Helen when she was a child who was kidnapped by Theseus. The twins waged war across the entire city of Athens just to find their little sister, and succeeded in having her returned home. While Polydeuces was always considered the son of Zeus, both twins were ultimately defined after their death and their lifetime of heroism. As deities, Castor and Polydeuces were worshipped as gods of horsemanship and the protectors of sailors and travelers. When Clymestra was old enough, she married Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae, and a little time after that, Helen married Agamemnon's brother, Menelaus. As her husband, he took the title of the king of Sparta. Helen and Clymestra would go on to become all tangled up in the Trojan War in their own way. Helen's kidnapping by the Trojan prince Theseus brought the 2 regions to war. When Menelaus sought to bring her back with the help of his brother, while the men were away at war, Clymestra remained at home plotting her husband's murder for the next 10 years, All because Agamemnon had sacrificed their daughter for a bit of good wind. Next, Theseus. Theseus is pretty popular. A lot of people know who Theseus is, but let's get into it. Theseus was a hero and considered to be one of the first kings of Athens, but he was a prince first, as they are. The people of Athens held him as their founder. They worshipped him for it. He was the son of Aegis, but could possibly also be the son of Poseidon. See, Aegis had been trying to have a child. He was the king of Athens, so therefore he needed to have an heir, but his two wives that he had married already hadn't been able to get pregnant. So he decided to go to the oracle and eventually ended up in the city of Treason. He decided to sleep with his friend's daughter, Ethra, who had also been with Poseidon the same night. And see, this is where some of the confusion comes in. But I just talked about how Leda had also been with her husband the same night that Zeus had assaulted her. So why didn't she have twins? Do they just pick and choose when they have two children they have two kids, one with their husband and one with the god from the same evening? But anyways, when he finally returned to Athens, leaving Ethra in Treason, where she eventually had given birth to Theseus. There are many different stories told about Theseus, with many of them being heretic. But the most famous tales of his journey were when he went to Crete. Before Theseus had returned to Athens and claimed his place as the son of the king, and therefore the throne to the heir of Athens, the city had gotten itself into a little bit of trouble with Crete. Minos had waged war against Athens, and Athens was losing terribly. Instead of being destroyed completely, though, the two cities agreed on one little deal. Every 7 years, Athens would send a group of young men and women to Crete to be sacrificed to the Minotaur in the labyrinth. Theseus wanted to put a stop to this, to save Athens. So Theseus volunteered to be one of the young men to be sacrificed next. The king was worried that his son wouldn't survive. So he told Theseus that if he survived and made it back, that he needed to change the sails from black to white so that he would know that his son had survived. So Theseus went on his way. He got on that ship and he went to Athens. He went to Crete, sorry. Once Theseus arrived, he met Ariadne, a princess and the daughter of Minos. Theseus seduced her, and when she was younger, and she believed that she had fallen in love with him. But Theseus had a terrible track record with women. Ariadne wanted to help him since she believed that she loved him. She gave him a thread and told him all she knew about getting through the labyrinth. Theseus was able to kill the Minotaur with the help of Ariadne. So he went in, tied the thread to the door, to the front by the door, and then, let it follow him. Once he slayed the Minotaur, he followed the thread back out to the entrance of the labyrinth. Ariadne joined the young Athens and Theseus and left for Crete. While Aegeus was worried sick that his son would not return to him, every day he would stand at the cliffs waiting to see those white sails for proof that his son had survived. Finally, one day, the sails appeared. He was so excited, but then he realized that they were not white sails. They were just the same old black ones. And this meant that Theseus had died and that the ship was sailing back without him. In his grief, he threw himself off of a cliff into the sea below. But a short while after, Theseus returned home safely. He simply had just forgotten to change the colors of the sails. Just like any other child when they are not listening to what their parents tell them to do. Now he doesn't have a dad because his dad just, offed him because he forgot one simple task that his father told him to do. On Theseus' journey back to Athens, he encountered some bandits. And by that time, he had quite a bit of murders under his belt. Theseus had killed men who allegedly were murderers. He always made a point of killing them the same way they had said to murder others. This included bending 2 trees and tying a man's foot to one end and his arms to the other, and then letting the trees straighten, resulting into the man being ripped in half. Now we're going to move on to Hippolyta, an Amazonian queen. There are many sources that agree that Theseus did in fact encounter an Amazonian queen, but there is no consensus on which one he met. So we're just going to say that for this sake, it was Hippolyta. When Theseus traveled to the land of the Amazonians, his friend Phaedra, the same friend that helped him kidnapped the famous Helen of Sparta, later of Troy, the same friend that helped him attempt to kidnap Persephone, the goddess of the underworld. They got trapped down there, and eventually Heracles saved them. But on this journey, they were at the island of the Amazonians. The Amazonians weren't afraid of them. They knew their strengths and welcomed them in as their guests. And Theseus took full advantage of this. He sure did. So, when the queen Hippolyta brought him the gifts, he decided that as soon as she got on that ship, he was going to kidnap her. And he did exactly that. She walked up on that ship to hand him those gifts, and he said, "Deuces, you're mine." And as any other man in Greek mythology, he assaulted her, and she became pregnant with their son, Hippolytus. Hippolyta, Hippolytus. They made it real simple to remember his name. In another story of Hippolyta, she meets her ultimate fate by lying with Heracles. One of Heracles' famed 12 labors was to get her war belt. The war belt was given to her by Ares himself. She wore it with pride until Heracles arrived. She didn't fear Heracles, and so welcomed him, offering him the war belt as a gift. Hera, though, old Hera, always getting in the business of everybody else, she was watching all of Heracles' 12 labors. And she decided that she was going to tell the other Amazonians that he was dangerous, that he was going to kill Hippolyta. So, they attempted to save her. And in those efforts, and since the women were trying to save her from Heracles, ignored how nice and welcoming he had been, how nice and welcoming Hippolyta had been, and he killed her. And he was able to, fend off the rest of the Amazonians. And get the war belt, It just all got, if Hera wouldn't have gotten in the middle of it, Hippolyta wouldn't have died. She was just being nice. And Hera was like, yeah, no. In most ancient Greek heroes, they lack the more of compassionate aspects of the truth hero. Yeah. Hippolyta and the Amazons are one of the most famous mythological women, yet there is very little reported on them. It's probably because they're women, They didn't have much to do with the goods, the boys. Because they didn't need no man. Next, we're going to get into Ariadne and Phaedra. They were daughters of Minos. They were the princesses of Crete and the sisters to the Minotaur. Like I mentioned in Theseus' story, Ariadne fell for him. He was handsome. A handsome prince from Sparta. Who wouldn't fall for him? She's like, oh, look at this handsome, fit Spartan man. I love him. I know I do. I love him so much. Anyways. After he killed her brother, she helped him escape from Crete. And eventually, they landed at the island of Nox. I believe I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. But anyways, so they were at this island. She falls asleep. And he just decides, oh, I don't like you anymore. I'm done. Goodbye. Deuces. I'm out. He just doesn't have very, he's not very good with the ladies. So, when she awoke, she was like, what the hell? I'm here on this island all by myself. I left my family for you, and you are just going to up and leave me? She was horrified. But Dionysus arrived later that day on the island. And he saved her. Dionysus fell in love with Andrea. And she fell in love with him. They quickly married and had children. And she was deified and lived on Mount Olympus with the gods. After Theseus left the island, he actually decided that he liked her sister, Phaedra. According to some sources, this happened much later in his life, but still, when he was with her, he was like, bye, bitch, I want your sister instead. So I guess we just, go from sister to sister. Abandon one, get with the other. I guess. You do you, I guess, bud. While they were married, they decided that they wanted to go visit the city where Theseus was from. Treason. So they get to the island and, look, honey, this is where I grew up. Over here is so-and-so. They run into his son, Hippolyta, who had been sent there when he was a kid to be raised. He had grown into a handsome young man. He was athletic, he was strong, and he decided that he was going to worship Artemis over Aphrodite. This was a big no-no, okay? This pissed Aphrodite off. She was like, okay, you're cursed. This curse affected Theseus's wife more than it affected Hippolyta. When she was in treason, she saw Hippolyta and she had to have him. She's like, I got to have that man. I don't care if that's my stepson. So she confessed her love. She was like, Hippolyta, I love you. I want to be with you. Screw your father. And Hippolyta, wasn't really interested in love or women, so he rejected her. And this drove her crazy. Just crazy. She's like, how dare you not love me? I just confessed my love for you. How dare you reject me? I'm heartbroken. I'm going to do my other eye, and then I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I think I'm going to do pink eyelashes. I don't have pink mascara, but I have my water-activated eyeliner palette. See how this goes. But, so she felt deeply hurt and was like, how dare you do this to me, sir? So she decided, I'm going to end it all. I'm just going to end it all. Okay, I'm going to find a spoolie. Okay, found one. I also found my white pencil I was looking for. I'm going to do white waterline. Okay, so, she was like, how dare you reject me? So she decided that she was going to, commit suicide. So she wrote a suicide note. And Theseus found it. And she wrote in there how much she loved Hippolyta. So he was like, my son is the reason why you died. So he confronted him and banished him from treason. Oh yeah, that worked. Do my top lash. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks really good. Do this. It's a little. I don't remember the last time. Oh, it's to the end of its life. Let's do the bottom lash. I'm gonna do my other eye, and I'll be right back. All right, other eye is done. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really appreciate all the viewers that I have. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below. Give me suggestions, your feedback. Let's talk about what I talked about today. What your guys' take is on it. You know, women always getting messed up in Greek mythology. Finished look. What do we think? Do we like it? I like it. It's been a minute since I've done something like this. But happy Saturday again, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like I said before. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.